Hi everyone, it's Mary. I'm going to be talking about Abigail Adams today. And according to the Liberty University course guidelines, historians must be objective and honest in their investigations, and I hope to do that today. So Abigail Smith was born on November 11th, 1744 in Weymouth, Massachusetts. Her father was a minister there, and he was one of the best educated and the most prosperous citizens of the community in Weymouth. But as far as Abigail's education goes, New England schools of the time did not accept girls into their schools, they accepted boys. And girls were instructed at home. Few people believed that women should even be educated. So that didn't satisfy Abigail, and she began to educate herself by reading the books in her father's library, and she became well versed in many subjects growing up. So, as she grew up, it wasn't long before Abigail met John Adams, a young lawyer from nearby Braintree, and throughout their courtship they wrote many, many letters to each other. And on October 25th in 1764, Abigail's father presided over the wedding of his daughter to John Adams. And the young couple moved into the house that John had inherited from his father in Braintree. And Abigail proved to be exceptionally capable of managing the family's finances and the household. She was a very bright, intelligent woman. And meanwhile, John's career took a dramatic turn for the better. He began to ride the court circuit, and he traveled from one district to another practicing law. And his frequent absences from home and their family were just prelude to more painful separations in the years ahead during the American Revolution. And on July 11th, 1767, in the family's farmhouse, Abigail gave birth to John Quincy Adams. And in the spring of the following year, John Adams moved his family to Boston because he was doing more law work in the city. So in 1774, John had to move just himself to Philadelphia in Pennsylvania as a delegate to the First Continental Congress, where America made some of its first moves to becoming a free government independent from Great Britain. And Abigail remained in Braintree, Massachusetts, to manage the farm and to educate their children. And again, letter writing was the only way that they could communicate with each other during their time apart. But this time their correspondence took on an even greater meaning, for Abigail reported to John about British and American military confrontations around Boston. And John, he was appointed president of the Board of War. He turned to Abigail for advice on decisions that were to be made as far as government work went. But then in 1778, John was sent to France on a special mission to negotiate an alliance with the French. And separated from each other by the Atlantic Ocean, Abigail continued to run the farm, she paid their bills, and she served as teacher to their children. Now, Abigail was, as I said before, a very bright woman, and she came up with this plan to speculate using some of their money by buying war bonds, which the government sold in order to fund the American Revolution. John, however, disagreed with this. He just wanted to buy neighbors' properties in order to expand their income because he was no longer working as a lawyer, he was a delegate. So there was a slight little tiff between the married couple over finances throughout the war. But after the war ended in 1784, America had gained independence. Abigail finally sailed to Europe to join her husband and her son, John Quincy, who ended up moving out there with his father as well. She spent 4 years in France and England while her husband served as the United States minister to Great Britain. And during the course of the next 12 years-ish, John Adams served 2 terms as vice president of the United States, and then 1 term as president of the United States. And throughout these years, Abigail frequently made use of her writing ability in the defense of John Adams and some of his policies. But in October of 1818, after they retired and settled again at their family home, Abigail contracted typhoid fever, and surrounded by her family members, she passed away on October 28th, and she and John were married for 54 years. Today, nearly 200 years, more than that. After her death, her legacy survives in the letters she wrote, which chronicled a very important part of the American Revolution, and these letters can be found through the Massachusetts Historical Society's online database. Thank you.